I'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we'll start with the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting March 13th. Everyone's had a chance to take a look at it. Anyone have any corrections or concerns? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second? Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting March 13th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to our general fund vouchers, 74,417 through 74,474. Wire transfers 161. 70321 through 161-70343. I will entertain a motion to approve.
I approve the vouchers and the wire transfers.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers as listed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. We didn't have anybody listed in the public comments when I came in. Did anybody add their list or add their name to the list? Okay, then we'll move on to our spotlights on education, starting with our spelling bee.
Okay, so we have a lot of good things happening in the Clear Lake District. So it was a nice problem when we're actually asking people to not be on the spotlight of education and moving them to next month. So this meeting we have three. So I'll start off by letting Mrs. Ritterpush talk about the spelling bee.
This is our second year for having the spelling bee back in the district. It had been quite a while since we had last had it. So the spelling bee is back for a second year and was even more greatly anticipated. They knew what was coming. And we had 2 entries again in the regional spelling bee. We had CJ, and then we also had Desiree Eichelman from the junior high. She had been one of our classroom winners last year, so a little bit of a repeat performer there. And kind of surprised herself and was pretty excited, I think. We had about 90% of kids 1st through 6th grade participate. Part of why that is such a high number is that teachers do encourage it. They practice in their classrooms. The kids ask to do spelling bees to practice their spelling words. Before and after the spelling bee, they often ask if they can do the spelling bee yet again this year. And it's also because the classes come and everybody gets to watch the spelling bee. About 25% of the junior high students participated in the spelling bee this year. The number is low. It's done during RAP. It's not done during classroom time. I do my best to try to schedule it around FFA meetings and FCCLA meetings, but there's always demands on kids' time. And they do need to give up a couple of RAP sessions in order to do the spelling bee. And I think there's a little bit more of that hesitant to fail at something. But I have had requests from quite a few of the 8th graders that they are very disappointed that they do not get any more spelling bees now, and they would like for an informal high school spelling bee, even though they know that the Scripps National Spelling Bee doesn't go past 8th grade. They've been thoroughly enjoying it. Mr. Peterson has been doing an excellent job as well at relaying all of the winning spelling words from the different classrooms and from the regional bee. And our state spelling bee was, it is this Saturday. It was this past Saturday, so I have to track down that winning list, or that winning word there. And the top 3 from Wisconsin get to go on to the National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C., which is put on ESPN each year. So it's a pretty big deal. So it's really great to have the spelling bees back. I know that CJ was very excited to be at the regional bee, and our region is actually active enough in the spelling bee that they split it into north and south. And so we go to Turtle Lake, and then there's one down at Baldwin Woodfield that's held at the same exact time, same exact day. And there's almost 40 kids that participate in those 2 bees to figure out which ones go to the state bee. So thank you again for having us enrolled in the Scripps National Spelling Bee program, and I think it's doing some good things, and I know teachers have had some really fantastic feedback about it.
Thank you.
Well, good, you're welcome.
Thanks, Mr. Ritterbush. All right, next up we have the VAC and Youth Art Month. Mrs. Waterman.
Right. First of all, Youth Art Month is technically about 2 or 3 month art time there. We start in about end of January and go through about March time. And Youth Art Month consists of a variety of schools in Wisconsin. They set up a regional show, and our regional show is at WITC in New Richmond. And I can hang about 40 to 50 pieces, kindergarten through 12th grade. I choose a lot of elementary level because I have a lot more options for the high schoolers to participate in. So we took about 40 pieces from Clear Lake to be on display there. It was on display for about 2 weeks here in March. And 3 of those 40 were chosen to participate in the state exhibit, which is this Friday at the Capitol in Madison. So those 3 are Kylie Munson, Alyssa Burbach, and Adriana Anderson from the elementary school. So their piece right now is down at the state capitol on display, and they have an opportunity to win several different awards, which if they don't go, or I'm not going to make it there either, but they will email me kind of the list of winners. But it's still a wonderful opportunity. Their artwork is framed, and they also have the option, one of the awards is to be chosen to have your artwork hung in display in the government building, either the mayor's office or the governor's office for an entire year. So I'm waiting to hear back the results. As for Visual Arts Classic, it is our high school art competition. This is my 4th year doing this, and it's a lot of work, but the kids ask for it every single year. They are provided prompts in categories that they're unfamiliar with. Some they are familiar with, such as painting, drawing, sculpture, art history, graphic design, traditional photography, digital photography. We have probably a list of 10 different categories. Once I say, yes, we're in, pay our registration fee, we get a list of prompts. And those prompts, this year, their theme was Art in Wisconsin. And the kids don't know the prompts ahead of time. They're given about a list of 12 artists, and they had to, one of the prompts, I guess, for painting was to demonstrate the best of Wisconsin. And this piece right here is done by Clara Pearson. She decided to go out, take a picture of Gaylord A. Nelson's house. And to her, the best of Wisconsin, as she explained here in her explanation card, was seeing that kid trying to build a snowman with the first snowfall and it falling down and then them having to start back over again. But to her, the best of Wisconsin is seeing those children never give up. And she had to, in her explanation card, designate a building, a government building, that she would put her painting on display. And she chose our elementary school because it was Gaylord A. Nelson Education Center. And as an inspirational piece to tell the students to never give up. If it falls, pick it back up again and start back over. So I just absolutely love the fact that not only do they have to do a piece of artwork, but they also have to explain it, and it has to connect with the prompt. They have from December through about March to participate in this. One more that I was going to share is Parker Reindahl. Love this piece because he decided to try out our dark room. For the first time ever, we bought film, we bought photo paper, we had to go in the dark room completely blinded, try to roll the film onto the roll. He went through about 5 rolls of film because he was paranoid that it wasn't going to work out. And he had to describe what does it mean to be a Wisconsinite. And he took his great-grandparents out of their assisted living home, marched them up to 3rd floor of the Clear Lake Community Center. And he said that the minute his grandpa walked into that room, he started crying because it was his 6th grade classroom. And in Parker took that, ran with it in his explanation card, explained his grandpa's words, and he said, "This, to me, this is Wisconsin. Generation after generation, passing down memories that we can't even dream possible." So I got a little choked up when I read it too, and the judges just absolutely loved it. I'm showing you these pieces, a couple other ones, because these are the ones that made it to state. They got judged, they received a 19 or a 20, and they're on their way down to Madison on April 7th to be judged again by some of the professors and art students at the UW-Madison campus. I have Erin Cockroft's piece as well here. She had to study a new artist that I've never even heard of, Susan Frackleton, and she had to create a piece, a vessel, in the style of Susan Frackleton, but it had to be her own personal style and had to incorporate a message behind it. And here she indicated freedom with the bird and people, the hands reaching up for that sense of freedom. So those ones are the ones that, not just the ones, we have 10 individuals from our team of 12 advancing to state, because we as a team received 3rd place overall out of competing against 8 other teams in our regionals. And that's because they add up all of our points from their long-term projects. They're also given 2 hours to create an on-site project. Plus we participate in a quiz bowl and a critical thinking, where we can't prep for it. Critical thinking is they are given 2 hours to come up with a 2-minute skit that has to incorporate like 3 to 4 artists on our list. So they have to study their artists and know how to incorporate them into a skit and work together as a team. So out of all of their points, from the team points plus their projects, we received 3rd place. Technically, we tied for 2nd, and so they had to recount the points. And there was one team that beat us by 1 point this year for 2nd place. So I'm super proud of the students. We will be sending this list of names here: Gabby Linzer, Clara Pearson, Kylie Mott, Maddie Powers, Courtney Swagger, Jordan Iverson, Erin Cockroft, Madeline Anderson, Melena Larson, Parker Rydell. They will all be going to state on April 7th, where many of them will take their long-term projects and also participate with on-site projects as well. And then they have the opportunity to win gold, silver, or bronze at the state level. Any questions? I kind of covered a lot in a matter of 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mrs. Waterman.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not least, I'm going to have Mrs. Kaler talk about Youth Frontiers Retreat. This is a new retreat that we did this year within the district, so I'll let her talk.
On March 15th, we were able to collaborate with Turtle Lake and Clayton, and the 8th grade students from the 3 schools got together. We went to Lake Wapagesset, the Bible camp, and we used their facilities. And Youth Frontiers is an organization out of the Twin Cities, and I don't know if any of you are familiar. I'm assuming you are. I'm familiar with Youth Frontiers, but they are an amazing organization that can really put on a really good day program for kids to get excited and have fun, but learn character traits that are important for them to come back to their school and make their school a better place. I mean, they go on the fact that they want to make every hallway, every cafeteria, every classroom a more caring environment, and they do that through these retreats. They do them at middle and high school. They used to do an elementary one, and I don't think they do that anymore, around the themes of kindness, courage, and respect. And the 8th grade retreat was courage. And instead of me talking to you, I brought my 2 STS kids who served as 2 of the 7 I took, who served as small group leaders, and they played an important role in the day facilitating group discussion and activities. And we're all going on a field trip So come with us, because they're going to use the bulletin board we created about the courage retreat. So if you want, you can hear what they have to say about it. They got free shirts, which was pretty good, from Youth Frontiers. And the day was pretty exciting. It started out, it's very loud and energetic in the beginning, and these guys were part of that, so you're on.
Yeah, so pretty much we just welcomed their, like, they walked in the room and we had like a tunnel set up for them.
There's a picture of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right next to the poster.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a tunnel set up and we just like cheered for them as they came through, and some of them were like scared, but some of them just came through really excited. And then the whole theme of it was kind of like, was courage and try to get them out of their comfort zone and how they could make the school a better place and everything. And then we each led small group talks where we got in a small group and they talked to us about little things. We'll talk about that.
In our small groups, we just kind of talked about the first couple ones were like, this one is what were some of the fears you face coming to school every day, and they just listed off like things like they were scared of people saying rude comments to them, like making fun of their bodies, their outfits, how they look, just kind of everything like that. And that's what we were trying to help them have the courage to like stand up for themselves. Some of the activities we did throughout the day, my favorite one is they had a giant jump rope. It was like a little bit longer than for me and Corey. And two of the leaders were swinging the rope, and we were with all the 8th graders. And they had to get in like groups of 3 or 4, and they had to run through the jump rope to the other side. And of course, once they got to the other side, everybody was cheering and clapping. And then after everybody came through the jump rope, the leaders, Jake.
Yeah, you're asking the right person.
But anyway, the 3 leaders, they explained how the jump rope was kind of like an obstacle we have in everyday life, and how you and your friend group, like, you have to build up your courage and go together through like the everyday obstacles you face. So that was a really fun activity we did.
And they didn't all go through like one at a time. They started that way, but at the end they had to go through 4 or more at a time through this jump rope. And if the jump rope hit the kids, everybody had to start over. And that was like, the kids were like, oh my gosh.
I think we did it in 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. They did it really well.
It was very impressive.
There's a picture of going through the jump rope. This one. Yep. That's a group of 4.
And then one of the other activities we did is we all got in a big giant circle, and one of the leaders would say off like, if you like say football, if you like football, you have to cross the circle, but you couldn't just cross it in just like walking. You had to do something silly getting across. So it just almost got them out of their comfort zone to act more comfortable around all each other.
Mm-hmm. Another big message, like I really like this when we talked about this. Say you have, or the 8th graders have a fear, like they're scared, they're not going to fit in or something. So they always just go with the crowd to fit in. They just want to fit in all the time. But then in reality, what we have to do is you have to go away and you just have to build up your courage just to be you. And so that was a really big message that I think a lot of the 8th graders took away from that day.
At the end, you go ahead.
Oh, that's great. I'm loving it.
At the end, then Tony, I don't know where is that? Right there. He's an actual singer, and they did a study in New York where they had a guy. It was a violinist.
Yeah, he was this famous violinist.
He was like a Philharmonic violinist, a really famous violinist.
And
they
they
paid
were
hundreds of dollars to see him.
And they had him playing at one of the big theaters in New York, and they did a study where they had him play just in a subway, just like one of the normal street performers and everything, and nobody would come up and recognize him. But as soon as they like said his name and everything, put him in a big theater, people would be paying hundreds of dollars. So that they just put that showing like how you pretty much just by your name and everything can just show that much. But then he actually created song. He's an actual songwriter for him, and he sings songs, and it was really emotional actually. And that was when I think a lot of the students actually got closer with each other, because then they made us write down these little acts of courage and how it has a ripple effect. Like as soon as you start doing it, everybody in the crowd sees it and will finally step up and do that. So we got together at the end and they like dimmed all the lights and everything, and you could go up in front and talk about like what your act of courage and everything was, and then you got to throw this pebble in the bowl of water to show like the ripple effect, so you could actually see the ripples. And that actually got really emotional.
I started to tear up a little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
Kids were super courageous doing that. Like that is really hard to do, and it was pretty courageous for them to even get up and share.
Because like a lot of the stuff they were sharing was very personal, deep down stuff, and it took a lot just to get up there and stand, and I was very proud of them.
Yeah. And then when we got the next day at school, they actually got to write down what their act of courage was, what they were going to bring back.
That's what these ones are for.
Yeah. And they all wrote down each different one and they got one there to actually keep, that they could like hang up in their room and everything to look at each day. And then we gave them one at school that they could fill out for the school one.
Yeah, the school one, just what could they do to make a difference here? And they were just very receptive, and I know our teachers have said, especially the week after, they noticed differences in kids' behaviors, and just a little more thought go in rather than impulsively running into something, and that was cool.
And like something I took away from this as a small group leader, I see my little small group in school, and like they come up to me and like say hi, like ask me how I'm doing. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it just got everybody as a whole just got a lot more closer, and you actually realize what some of the people are going through, so you're going to think twice before you go and make fun of them or something the next time. That you actually see a different side of them.
Very cool.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, did the whole 8th grade go, or just a certain, did all 8th graders go?
All 8th graders went.
Okay.
The whole class went.
Yeah.
And then like all of Turtle Lakes did, and Turtle Lake had their small group leaders, and I brought enough, so our groups were about 6 to 7 kids together. Lots of positive feedback from parents too, emails and things from them saying their sons or daughters very much enjoyed it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Very good, you guys. Wrap it up, guys. Yeah. You guys are both seniors.
Well, and I'm really hoping, that's the thing is, I'm really hoping to do this with, and Turtle Lake and Clayton want to do it again next year as well. I'd like to do it earlier in the year, like in the fall, instead of in the spring, and then do follow-up activities. Then they have all year. I would love to do it with our sophomores. I think that's a really pivotal age with kids.
I like field trips. We need more of those.
Anybody watch 60 Minutes last night?
As long as it's not a spelling bee one. That's my downfall. Don't keep me on a spelling bee.
Well, let's see if we can take the
So
champion.
if you want to have to answer random weird questions.
Then I'll whoop me.
Okay, very good. So then we'll move on to, and if you guys want to leave at any time, we won't look down on you for that. But we'll move on to our new business then, approval of board policy 413.
Okay, so policy 413 is policy revolved around homeless students. It's this would be the second reading, so this would need a motion to approve as an official board policy.
That being said, everybody get a chance to read through it then?
It hasn't changed since last time, has it?
It is not, no.
I didn't get it again this time.
So then I will, looking for a motion to approve it.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve Board Policy 413. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to the approval of our youth options.
Okay, so if you look in the superintendent notes, under, I gave you kind of the breakdown as far as which students have applied for the youth option classes, how many classes they're applying for, the cost of each class, and then which individual students, whether or not they've met the requirements or not. So, I don't know if we want to go through each individual student, if you guys want to approve individually or as a whole. Right now, the middle student that's listed is the only student that has not met the qualifications, and I attached them.
He's got to qualify, right?
He is not. Yeah,
He has to qualify, yeah.
Yeah, he's not met the requirements. So that's according to the board policy that I've also attached.
So that being said, then he won't be able to go on then.
Right.
Okay.
So those two would need board approval to have Crystal Weiss and Bailey Anderson.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for Crystal Weiss and Bailey Anderson.
I'll make a motion that we approve the youth options for those two.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the youth options for those two individual students. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to the approval of the 2017-18 head football coach.
So as you know, we went through the interview process. We have selected an individual through that interview committee. So this item would just be, would need a motion to approve that individual as the next head football coach for the 2017-18 football season.
How close were the candidates? What kind of pool did we have?
We had a good pool, and I felt like it was a good process, and a lot of qualified individuals, which you never know.
Wasn't he an assistant coach or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. He was on staff at the junior high level. He's played some collegiate level ball. So has a good knowledge of the game as well.
Okay. Did you already name the individual?
Nope. It'd be Brent Paulson as that individual.
Okay. Well, then I will entertain a motion to approve Brent Paulson as our 2017-18 head football coach.
I'll make a motion, we approve him.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve Brent Paulson as the 2017-18 head football coach. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to the approval of the non-discrimination self-evaluation report.
Okay. So this is one of those things that I came across like last year, many things that was kind of a surprise to me. This was one of those curveballs this year. DPI puts out every 8 years, I guess it is, every district in the state, every public school in the state has to go through a self-evaluation process and review their non-discrimination reports and policies and then what they do within the district. Within that, there's some guidelines that they give that they tell you that you need to be doing in the district. So that's why, like for example, the homeless policy, you guys just approved that, and then also there were some notices that we recently this year put on the school webpage. But if you go through it, it's just really some good information as far as what's happening in the district's demographics. It was a look at some of the policies that we have in place regarding pupil and non-discrimination, and then also some just informational stuff that the DPI required us to put into this report. So this full report will be submitted to DPI tomorrow morning, pending that it gets approved tonight. So if you just look through there's a large number of individuals that were on the evaluation committee that helped me out compiling all this information, so I'd like to thank them. And then for me as a new staff member to the district, it was nice for me to see too, as far as like how much participation we have in the district, looking at the free and reduced numbers that we have in the district. it was very impressive. One thing that really stood out to me is the extracurricular programs, both WIAA and not affiliated with WIAA. Just the participation rate that we have in our district was very impressive. Above 50% in the last 3 years for those activities. So neat to see, because you want as many kids involved in those activities as possible. So reviewed material on page 5, the student parent handbook, activity code. I listed all the board policies that we took a look at. Non-discrimination notices that to make sure that we're compliant with the state. The enrollment piece, just the numbers and data regarding enrollment over the past 3 years. Free and reduced participation, and then student athletic, band, and choir participation. So those are the main components of this review. Of this report that we reviewed. So overall, as a whole, we were only missing a couple things that we needed to add, and a couple minor adjustments. Things that we did add, you can take a look on page. If you go past the like where the statutes are listed, right after that there are two new things. An annual notice for homeless children that we now have posted on our website. Again, and that is just those state statutes that we pulled verbatim. And then right after that, just a letter from myself indicating that we are following everything that we need to follow. One other thing before you guys go ahead and approve it that I was very impressed with, and I had a little bit of a glimpse at the end of last year at the baccalaureate, I believe that was. But if you look at the on page 9, 10, and 11, it's the Clear Lake School District scholarships that are offered, and that was very impressive for me to see as well. How many scholarships that our district has available to the students within, our seniors that are leaving our district. There's a lot of scholarships that are offered. Majority are, from within the community, which is very neat very impressive to see. That's a lot of money being shelled out at the end of every year for our seniors. So. Any questions regarding the report?
Looks good. Then I will entertain a motion to approve it. I'll move to approve the non-discrimination self-evaluation report.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the non-discrimination self-evaluation report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to the approval of CISA 11 shared service contract.
So this contract is this time every year the board needs to approve this contract, and it's just the listing of all the different services that CISA provides. And CISA really overall does a really nice job supporting school districts in this area. The CISA 11, this CISA 11 is a very impressive CISA and everything that they have to offer. One thing, couple changes, which we've talked about, the special ed director and the school psych will be dropped, but then also we're going to be adding for sure 1 day, possibly 2 days, but right now it's just going to be 1 day we're looking at. We talked a little bit at the last meeting about the grading system within the district, and we're going to be looking at unpacking the state standards as a whole, as a teaching staff, and going through that process and moving in the direction of that standards-based grading, which I think is in the best interest of students. So as an admin team, we're very excited about that and what that means for our district.
Otherwise, same as last year then.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions about any of the different items on the list? Okay. Then, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the CISA 11 shared service contract.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the CISA 11 shared service contract. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to our review of the upcoming election.
Okay, so April 4th, we have 2 candidates. The candidates listed on the ballot will be Mr. Greg Frenshu and Mr. Kevin Skip Grosskreutz, running for the vacancy that will be left after Mr. Brent Anderson steps down. So I'd like to, first of all, thank Mr. Anderson for all of his time and dedication to the Clear Lake School District and being on the school board. We appreciate it, and I know I appreciate it for the 2 years that I've been here coming in. So thank you.
Yeah, Brent. Yeah, thank you, Brent.
I think he's got one more meeting left in at least a half a meeting. So
Pass the baton.
Yep. All right, then we'll move on to our superintendent notes, Mr. Ernst.
okay. A couple things we talked about already. The youth options that went on, that was a huge success. I know Mrs. Kayla, our students talked about that, so that was neat, and hopefully we'll continue with that. Next year, all the sports are official. The spring sports now have officially kicked off, which is exciting. I'm pretty sure we even had golfers on the golf course, which in northern Wisconsin isn't always the case. So not only on the course, but I think there's even some green grass on the course. So we're out there today. Baseball practice also is in full swing. The Sky Zone Middle School Reward Day happened on the 22nd, and we didn't come home with any casts or hospital visits. I think there was a couple bruises, but overall it sounded like it was a very fun day. I think we might have had an upset stomach and a puker, though, and one black eye.
My son managed to punch himself in the eye with his own knee. So.
Yeah. But no
He
cast.
went home early, but he was okay.
Yeah, it sounds like the kids had a lot of fun. On Friday the 24th, the seniors went down for the count against the seniors versus the Geezers basketball tournament. So that was fun, the staff versus the senior class, which there's some talented young men and ladies as seniors. So it was a very close game. I don't know what the official score was, but I think the staff won by a point or two. And I didn't make any shots. So, upcoming things in the district, we have forward testing beginning this week, and then we also have the accelerated math training. And I don't know if Mr. Gillis wants to talk about that a little bit, or Mr. Peterson, but we have 5th grade through 12th grade teachers doing some professional development training with our accelerated math program to get some vertical alignment with the curriculum, and just conversations that are taking place have been encouraging some kind of a professional learning community within that math department. So that's been encouraging to see. If you had anything to add?
I think you nailed
Good?
it.
Okay.
We got training going on in the building tomorrow.
And then 4th grade play coming up. Exciting. Nettie and I will be watching that. On the 30th, that's 1:15 in the Commons, if anybody's interested. And then on the 31st, we have no school for students and teacher in service day on the 31st. So that's all I have.
I believe that the play is at 1:15 and I think at 2:30. I think the classes each do them separately.
Yep,
Maybe
you're right.
1:15 and 2.
I'm not sure which one goes first, but
I
there's
think it's normally it's class
Is it?
goes first and
Okay.
keepers goes second.
Sounds good. And the 3rd graders are at the circus that day, so Mr. Peterson's going to be out with the 3rd graders.
Be the ringmaster.
All right, very good, Mr. Ernst. We'll move on to the future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to our list of agenda items? Okay. Then, I thank you guys for coming in. We'll move on to our contemplated closed session in accordance with WSS 19.85, paragraph 1C, considering employment compensation or performance data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Board will be discussing employment, compensation, and performance of an employee. Thanks, Lori. Now I'll poll the board. May?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Pete?
Yes.
David?
Yep.
We are in closed session. All right, we're in open session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
For one last time, I will move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.